If you are looking for the best solar generators 2024, well, you're in the right place. We've dug deep and conducted extensive research, and now we're breaking down the absolute best solar generators 2024. We're talking about the perfect balance between price and performance, tailored for different scenarios. If you're eager to find out which suits you best, don't go anywhere. Stick around till the end because we've got all the links for the best prices in the description below. No specific order, just the top contenders in the game. Ready to dive into the world of best solar generators 2024? Let's get started. Number 5. Anker SOLIX C1000 Solar Generator. Whether you are living in a small apartment or a crowded house, there isn't always a lot of space to stash gear that you aren't using daily, including emergency gear. Despite the petite size of the Anker SOLIX C1000, it's a surprisingly powerful power station. It can handle a hearty solar input load up to 600 watts. It can also put out 2400 watts at 120 volts, which will allow you to power most anything, from a fridge to a CPAP machine to a microwave. While Anker is boasting that this has an extremely fast turnover in the event of a power outage, which would theoretically allow you to keep critical systems going without a hitch, the reality is that the power it holds, 1056 Wh, and can generate at a time, 200 watts, may not be enough to sustain you for a longer power outage. If there is medical equipment that is necessary for your or your loved's day-to-day survival, look into a larger power station with more solar input potential, like the Anker SOLIX F2000. But if you're looking for a unit that can keep everyone's phones juiced with the option to turn on your coffee maker, then this one is hard to beat. The Anker SOLIX 100W is easily one of the best designed 100W panels I have tested. It's been with me since my first test of the best solar panels for camping, and it's still one of my favorite pieces of gear. It even beat out the $200 Jackery Solar Saga if you consider that this panel generated 94% of its claimed output, while the Jackery only managed 92%. Part of this is the inclusion of a sundial in the top center of the panel, which helped me align the panel correctly during setup. This sundial is such a useful feature that after I had correctly aligned the Anker SOLIX 100W, I went back and adjusted all the other panels to match it. An instant uptick in power was measured. Number 4. Bluetti AC60 plus Bluetti PV120 Solar Panel. Something you see over and over when you're looking at the fine print on power stations are reminders to protect them from the elements. Rain, dirt, and dust can wreak havoc on the ports and inner workings of these devices. For those of us that love the outdoors and plan to use these devices camping or overlanding, this is a bit of a conundrum. The Bluetti AC60 is one of the only power stations I've tested that is rated to fully protect against dust and water jets, i.e. rain. Note that it's not water resistant to the point that you can drop it in a lake. I tested the Bluetti AC180 as part of my test of the best portable power stations. While I wasn't overly impressed with that unit's performance relative to others on the market, it fared well enough, such that the AC60's unusual weather-resistant bona fides pushed it over the line into my top camping pick. Testing results extrapolated from the Bluetti AC180, stated capacity 403 Wh, tested capacity at 34W draw 217 Wh, tested capacity at 380W draw 343 Wh, max output $600, $1,200 surge, max solar, input 200W. The Bluetti PV120 solar panel is one of the best solar panels I've tested. Despite being a similar size and price compared to the Anker SOLIX 100W, a 100-watt solar panel, it produced 16 more watts during testing. Its kickstands had snap buttons at the adjustment points, making it simpler to find the correct angle than on solar panels that liked that feature. It also has snaps that hold the package together when folded up, eliminating the need for an extra carrying case. This has become my new go-to panel when I head out camping. Number 3. Anker SOLIX F2000 Solar Generator. While several power stations that I looked at incorporated handles for ease of transport, the Anker SOLIX F2000s were by far the most useful. While the Jackery's telescoping handle never extended far enough to allow me to stand upright, it was comfortable to pull the Anker SOLIX F2000 by its handle for short distances. This included over very muddy ground during one of my early tests in the summer of 2023. If you regularly move your power stations more than 50 feet at a time, then the ease and comfort with which you can maneuver the Anker SOLIX F2000 makes it a smart choice. In my test of the best portable power stations, the Anker SOLIX C1000, which uses the same battery chemistry as this model, was a top performer. It was very efficient at delivering large and small amounts of power. Unlike the C1000 model, the Anker SOLIX F2000 comes with an RV plug built in and a max wattage of 2400 watts, which I did test, equivalent to what a typical RV uses in a day. The Anker SOLIX 200W solar panel was the simplest to use of the larger solar panels I looked at. I liked that it didn't have a separate carrying case to mess with. And a simple carabiner and mesh bag combo did the trick to stash the relevant cable and ensure it didn't become separated from the larger unit. While this solar panel isn't quite as powerful as the Jackery Solar Saga 200W, it easily produced over 75% of its 200-watt capability during my tests. And the Anker SOLIX F2000 can support up to 5 of these chained together. Strangely, this panel does not have the same sundial component that the Anker SOLIX 100W does. However, after I set up the Anker SOLIX 100W, I adjusted the Anker SOLIX 200W panel to match its angle and immediately saw a 23-watt difference in the power input. Hopefully, Anker will simply add this accessory onto the 200W model in the future. But in the meantime, you can purchase a clip-on sundial separately. Number 2. EcoFlow Delta 2 Max Plus 220W Solar Panel. The EcoFlow Delta 2 stood out from the competition in my testing of the best portable power stations for its overall efficiency in turning stored power into usable power, as well as its low weight and easy-to-use interface. This backs up my impression of the Delta 2 Max, which has the same battery chemistry and design, just more watt-hour capacity. If you want a power station for a solar generator setup, it's hard to do better than this. Something different about the EcoFlow Delta 2. Max compared to other power stations I've looked at is that the 6 AC outlets, as well as the car outlet, are on the back side of the power station with the solar and AC input ports. This can be a bit of a chore if you plan to swap out cords on a regular basis. But if you're setting up a static off-grid system that you won't be fiddling with too much, it has a nicer aesthetic. While this power station, like others in my test, does come with an app, I don't recommend using it as these have a significant power draw on the units. It's hard to find a better value than the EcoFlow 220W bifacial portable solar panel. It produces more power for its cost and weight than anything else I've tested. And its XT60 connector cable means it's compatible out of the box with other power stations, including the Anker SOLIX F2000. The downside to this solar panel is that it is surprisingly difficult to set up and pretty fiddly to adjust. It will also warp if left in storage long term. While the other solar panels in this test rely on adjustable kickstand legs to optimize the angle of the panel toward the sun, the EcoFlow 200W bifacial portable solar panel takes a different approach. It uses the carrying case to support the panel. First, 4 clips attach to the 4 corners of the carrying case. You then clip into the panel itself, angling the carrying case at a wedge to create structure to the panel. Number 1. Jackery Solar Generator 2000+. Jackery's power stations have always stood out to me as being exceptionally easy to use, sort of like the iPhone of portable power stations. Their display panel is straightforward and intuitive. Their bright orange charging cables are color-coded to the power station itself. Anker and EcoFlow also do a great job in this area, but not quite at the level of Jackery. If you only expect to break out your power station once or twice a year, being able to quickly reorient yourself to how to use the unit is important. The Explorer 2000 Plus has an output of 3000 watts, which is enough juice to power many modern refrigerators. Its battery life of 2043 watt-hours means it can supply that power for about a day before needing to be powered up again via a solar panel setup. During my testing of the Explorer 1000 Plus model, it proved to be about middle of the road for efficiency, providing more usable power for higher wattage appliances on average. Because of a durability issue, a crack in the housing, I'm not recommending this unit for individuals who expect to use their power station on the regular. I originally tested the Solar Saga 200W solar panel as a full setup, with 4 panels plugged into a single power station. This test showed the full power of the array, which registered 650 watts of power generation on a sunny, albeit hazy day. I recently retested a single panel in tandem with the rest of the units in this review, and under completely clear skies, the panel was even more impressive. It registered 184 watts of energy coming from a single panel. It was also a standout performer in cloudy weather, producing 49 watts of power. It's also the only panel I've seen pull power out of low light conditions, covered patio at dusk. I still haven't found another solar panel of this size that performs at this level. It's one of my top picks.